promoting the directors and the stars. So it's amazing how little representation we have and what our problems are as people, now, then I mean, like no one else, I think, understands our industry. And I think that's what we're suffering from, because most people, even to today, think you just pick up a camera, shoot it, and put it on TV. They have no idea of what it takes to do it. Did I? I'm sorry. Do I have him? I'm not hearing him in my earpiece.
Yeah. Testing. Can you turn him down?
Yeah, I brought it down.
Testing mic 1 2 3. Testing mic 1 2 3.
Yeah.
I don't think testing mic 1 2 3.
Hold on. Yeah, I just got you back, PJ. Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
buddy.
testing mic 1 2 3. Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Okay.
Will the Facebook, will this be on Facebook in a minute, and then I'll share it?
Yes, it should be.
Go
to Applebox Network, the page Applebox Network, and that's where we send it from.
Excellent.
Great. Okay.
Let me know that when you got it. Okay.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
We are live.
There we go. Did you find it?
Yeah. Do we answer questions from the audience?
Yeah, people can. They will type in questions, and then what I usually do is throw that to Tony or Sean, and then they ask the question, and then you'll be able to hear it, and we'll take it from there.
Gotcha.
So yes, hopefully we'll get a lot of questions.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Curtis, what's up? Got some people jumping on already.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
All right. All right. Excited for the show.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
I like this music.
Yeah, cool. What is this? Relax, chill? Relax, chill, it's called.
It's chill. It's good. It's good.
There we go. So have you ever worked with William Helmuth?
Oh yeah, man. We call him Jedi Master William. It's like an old soul in a young man's body with a bald head.
Yeah.
He's great. He's the one who he's honestly your #1 evangelist in my opinion. He's always talking about Bernie and working with the crew, and
he's such a great guy. He's such a great guy. I feel that really, honestly, I feel so blessed to be out here, because there are more people in production, obviously, in Southern California. And we got such a great group of people that we associate with down here, LA and Orange County. There's just really dedicated, really dedicated people to the product. And it's a good thing. But we love William. I've had William on probably 5 times, Tony tells me. Incredible,
Yeah, he's great. It's fun because he works with a lot of YouTubers too, and it's really interesting to hear filmmakers talk about what they do with YouTube. Like, we'll have to get into it. I don't know if you know this, but like I run a YouTube channel with my dad, and we have it's like 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
I know, dude. I had no idea about that until you told me that, or you mentioned it in one of your things. I got to totally talk to you about that.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about it. It should be fun. It's always just really random, because it's like, it's not, I don't know, I don't feel like YouTube fame and all that success is like translates to real life, but if you know, there's like certain people who, when you say my dad's name, when you say voiceover Pete, like a bunch of like 12, we'll go into like you know, like some place with a bunch of 12-year-old kids, and they all do the dab. And
10 seconds
they're
to open.
so funny.
10 seconds to open.
We're going to the open right now, PJ. When we come back, we'll be
All
on
right.
the air. All right, buddy.
All right.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Got a great show today. Hey, well, what am I don't miss my moniker here. It's 2 o'clock, must be Bernie's Apple Box. There you go. We got a great show today. I'm very fortunate to get this person, PJ Accetturo, and we are going to be talking to him about a post that he wrote last week that just blew my mind. It just so grabbed me so hard. I had to have him on the show. I think he's there. PJ, you there, buddy?
Yeah. How you doing, Bernie?
Very good, my man. Very good. There he is. How you doing, my man?
Hey, glorious 240p, looking good.
I can't go wrong with 240p. Dude, you know how weird, I mean, this is coming from the old guy now, you know what I mean? But for me, it's so strange to be able to meet people, admire them, talk to them, deal with them, yet we've never met, and you're on the entire East Coast. I would have probably never, ever even heard your name if it wasn't for social media. But I feel so connected now to people all over because of social media. And I know back and forth, we've gone back and forth, we've talked to each other a little here and there, I think in comments sometimes and stuff like that. But it's so great when I read something like you wrote the other day, and there it is out of somebody who I'm seeing the view of social media of, and here this very real person pops out with a very real issues that we all go through, and even ones that very much connect to me and what I've been doing, you know, in the last year or so. I just first I want to say what a great guy you are and how impressed I am with you. That's number one.
Thank you. No, thank
But
you.
number two, thank you for your candor and honesty to write a piece like you did, because it's so important. You know, I would look at something like this and I think, you know, you probably turned more than one person's head around of something they were going through. You know, it was a lot. And I know that just because I've seen the comments. I reposted it on my site, and I just saw the comments from there. And it was very, very heartfelt, you know. So we're going to get into that, and I want to talk about that. And I'm going to read some excerpts from it here. Not the whole thing, but some excerpts. But tell us about PJ. Tell us about PJ. First off, how'd you get the name PJ?
I love pajamas. I wear it all the time around the house. No, I really like peanut butter jelly. No, it's Peter John, so I'm extra biblical. Yeah. I think I don't know. I just named it growing up, and it always kind of stuck. Is
you were
unique.
always PJ?
No one can. I was always PJ. No one pronounced my last name, which is Italian. It's Accetturo. So
Accetturo.
Accetturo. It's got to come from your soul. Yeah.
Accetturo. PJ Accetturo.
That's right.
Okay, there we go. I got it right now. When you were a kid, did you always want to be a director? Did you want to be in media?
I think I wanted to daydream for a living. So yeah, that's good. That's definitely what I feel like directors do. You just you really can just turn these ideas that you had. Like when I was in high school and was a kid, always a space cadet, just never paid attention in class because I was thinking of the stories that I had. So now I realize, years later, I was just a director in training.
Yeah, no, there you go. Well, that must be similar. I think that's a pretty common thing in our business, to be honest with you, because I did the same thing. Pretty much I looked out the window all day and wished I was somewhere other than where I was for the most part. And I think that's pretty common. You know, it's funny too, in talking about that, and I'll just take a little bit of a left turn on here. Education is something that is a big, I don't actually talk about it too much because no one I know agrees with what my feelings are on it. I would say my general feelings, sort of a solution is a different thing. But, you know, we only train people in this country, that's the only one I can refer to, we only train people to be employees. We don't train them to be entrepreneurs. We certainly do not train them to be artists, you know. And everything which is important, I know, it always has the backdrop of employment and money. And I think that has done so much to hurt us as a people. And it certainly does, it hurts us a lot in our industry because a lot of people don't have a good idea about the values and how things come together and really what media is, you know, and I have some feelings on that. I'd like to get yours, but I think that's one place that we're really stuck in this country is people don't get information like this. We're supposed to be on social media. We're supposed to be all happy, all good. And I think the education system that we have now does not serve that well.
Yeah, it doesn't support, like you said, entrepreneurs and free thinkers, where it's always about checking boxes, like setting up, you know, processes, and then how well do you perform to expectations. But to artists and to entrepreneurs, like that's just not how we're wired to think. We're wired to think creative solutions, out of the box solutions, and so, yeah, it makes becoming freelance filmmakers a lot harder out of school because you don't even know how to run a business by the end of school, but you know it's calculus. Like, it's just always kind of blows my mind.
Yeah. But you couldn't make a payroll if you needed to.
No, and you don't know how to do taxes, but you sure know Pythagoras theorem inside and out.
You know all that good stuff.
Right.
So did you go to college?
Okay, now let's jump into my story. So I was a photographer throughout high school. My dad's here, and I just always went on a lot of mission trips. It was just something my family was really supportive of, and just something I just found was like a world-changing experience when you can kind of step outside the U.S., have your worldview challenged, meet people from other cultures, but really be able to see the work that's being done abroad, how many needs there are. Like, it just kind of moved me to say, there's some amazing things that are out here. There's some amazing organizations and nonprofits and missionaries that are doing incredible things. I want to tell their stories because so many times they're the last people to talk about themselves. They're the last people to tell their own stories. So I think it really needs people like us to be filmmakers to tell their stories, to tell the awesome things. And that's something I've basically done from day one, and I still do today. And to me, that is the most fulfilling thing to be a part of is to take amazing organizations and basically amplify their voices and tell their stories.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah, so moving on in the timeline then, I'd been to like 5 to 10 different countries by the end of high school, really had developed a really good photography portfolio and kind of a photojournalism portfolio through that.
Wait a minute,
to often how a lot of
5 to 10 countries while you were in high school, is that right?
Yeah,
I did. You got gigs. You got still photography gigs.
Well, it was basically like missions trips, which I would end up being kind of the photojournalist on.
Sure. Okay.
So basically every summer and every spring we went to India, Panama, Morocco, Mexico, Egypt, just so many different countries, just kind of documenting different stories that were being done abroad, like nonprofits. Like when we worked in India, we worked with lepers, people who had leprosy, and the missionaries there, at risk to themselves contracting leprosy, every day would wash the wounds in the hands and the feet and the arms of the lepers, and they could totally get it. And for 30 years, they've been doing it. And for 30 years, they haven't gotten leprosy. Just like incredible stories like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an experience for a young person. What an experience.
Yeah, it changes you, it matures you, it shows you don't know everything, and honestly, you're really privileged, spoiled little brat, as so many Americans are, and
we have first world problems, right? Yeah, I think about that all the time. My wife is Turkish, and she's not poor, you know, it wasn't a horrible experience. In fact, the town she comes from, I call Laguna Beach without the rich people. It's right on the Black Sea. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
But, you know, she has an entirely different take on life and experience and values that I think we lose a lot in America because we don't know other countries. We don't know what it's like to live over there. And I don't mean it in a negative way either. Most of them are very positive ways, you know. A better style of living, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're 100% right. So yeah, it was just a really awesome to be a part of so many trips. So by the end of high school, I was kind of looking to see, do I want to go to school? Hence, the answer is no. It's so expensive. It was just absolutely cost prohibitive to pay $50,000 a semester.
That's ridiculous.
It really is. I'm not a big fan of film school for the most part. But anyway, I found an opportunity to be a photojournalist on a hospital ship called Mercy Ships. This amazing organization that basically goes around the coast of West Africa on a hospital ship. It's like 8 stories high, 500 feet long, hundreds of people on board, and they go into villages. They find people with tumors, they find people with cleft lip, cataracts, and they bring them on the ship. And they do surgery, you know, sometimes it's like 15 minutes and the person has completely restored eyesight. Sometimes it's like 12, 13-hour surgeries to remove, you know, these huge tumors, but they do it and they're sent back into their villages like totally restored, not only on like a physical sense, but also on like a social sense because they were ostracized, like these people have demons or something like that. So complete transformation, just really amazing story. So the job posting was up and basically I applied, but I didn't think they would take a 17-year-old, you know, because I was graduating a few. So I sent them, I said, hey, my friend is really interested in your internship to be the photojournalist. Here's his portfolio. He's been in a lot of countries. He's really good. I hope you like it. So they sent it back like, oh my gosh, you know, he works really good. We'll send it over to HR and they'll get in touch with your friends. So I got forwarded to HR, and lo and behold, a few weeks after I graduate, I got my bags and I'm moving to West Africa. It was crazy.
Wow. Just like right after you graduated, you'd moved to West Africa and had a job.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. No, totally.
Incredible.
Yeah. It was a little weird, but at the end of the day, in European countries, people take a gap year after high school. It's really common over there. And so I knew that if I didn't want to just become a wedding photographer, that's like so many photographers and young, you know, filmmakers just think, well, I really can only do weddings. But I think if you're really proactive and thinking outside the box, there's tons of opportunities out there for people to kind of get involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's that exposure to that too. You know, PJ, it's a lot of people. I remember, you know, coming from the town I came from, it was a branch office town. It was really no corporate leadership. There wasn't a lot of industry, you know, that was in our town. And people adopted that mentality. You know, well, ask someone else. Well, wait till you get permission. Well, wait till they send you there. You know, and it catches when somebody as yourself can go and accomplish something like that at that age. That's going to change the whole trajectory of your career. You know.
Yeah,
it's going to put you on the fast lane.
Speaking on that, so my first big break came like, I swear it was like a couple days or a week after I got there. So a lot of TV crews would come in to do stories on the ship, Discovery Channel, National Geographic, and others. And they had sent one of their film crews in, but their photographer ended up getting sick. So I'm there just kind of at reception talking with somebody, and the whole National Geographic film crew comes on board and they're like, hey, you know, like our photographer wasn't able to make it. They talk to me thinking that I'm just the like receptionist. They're like, please send your photographer out tomorrow on our shoot. And I'm like, I'll tell him. I'll sure tell him. So
I'll make sure he gets the message. Yeah.
I'll make sure he gets the message. So next morning, bright and early, I'm on like a National Geographic film set, and they ran. Yeah, it was crazy at 18. So they ended up really liking the photos that I took. We were doing a really cool story on, so the divers on the ship would end up having to go and dive down into the water because the way they cooled off the engines was they would intake salt water. Well, the ports were like so congested with trash that it would often get clogged up, so the divers would have to scrape it away. I mean, it like diving into that water was like diving into that trash compactor scene in Star Wars, where like
Wow.
Luke and Leia and Han are all, oh, it's awful. You can't even see a thing.
Wow.
It was crazy. So they were doing a story on basically like, it's almost like dirty ops like that. And I had my scuba certificate, so I was able to like go down, clean off the pipes, go with the film crew, and just get some awesome photos. It was amazing. Yeah.
Incredible. Here you are, 18 years old, and you're National Geographic, going out doing that, going to the swamp dump, you know.
Right,
unbelievable,
right.
Unbelievable. So where did that go? Where did that lead you to? Those working on the ship, and then you got your gig with National Geographic. You got to be on top of the world right then.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's like when, I don't know, things always become your new normal, and just things end up just kind of being normal. But yeah. I think what it taught me, so I was there for 6 months, and we traveled, you know, all over West Africa. And I think what it taught me there is that, like, the power that we storytellers, I mean, it really, not, you know, it's cliche to say it could change the world, but we really can. Like, it is Absolutely. So, the tools that we have are something that can bring, you know, kind of sight to the blind in the case of this ship, that can feed the hungry, you know, that can change the opinions of so many people. You know, like stories of why the Vietnam War stopped was because photographers, because people were telling stories, and it drove.
Absolutely. Well, I was just going to reiterate that. I was watching on the other end back then. And you are absolutely right. That one photograph, it's iconic. Everybody will know when I describe it, the little girl running naked after the napalm attack. You know, that was, you know, I remember seeing that, and of course, my vernacular then and my point of view was quite different, you know, so I expressed what I thought of that picture, or what I thought of that situation. And it did the same thing. You know, another one, just to go on that church, when the person was executed on the street by the general with a gunshot to the head.
The pistol,
that was another one that was very, very, very impactful back then.
Yeah.
So it can change
and I
the
think
world.
that just, it really can. And I think that just shows the immense responsibility that we have as storytellers and filmmakers. Like, it's not, you know, I don't know, like, I think it's easy to sometimes get depressed and like, oh, I'm just like a PA, or I'm just like a gaffer or something. I'm not where I want to be. But like, you know, filmmaking is it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's something, as you certainly know, like we do over the course of our life. And even if what we're working on right now may not seem like it has a lot of purpose, it's contributing, it's building the blocks for, I really think, the person that we're becoming and we want to become, and really just taking steps towards making the world a better place through just kind of doing as best we can with each day, with each project, and moving on towards the next one, just kind of making it better and better.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? We live in the USA. We live in really a very wonderful, opportune, rich country. Yeah. You know, and I think that does skew our thinking to a certain degree. I think we look out there and we see these jewels. This is, you know, the way I feel here living in LA. You see all this gold around you, you know, and you may be driving in a beautiful car, but it's not the best car. And that is continually out there. And I know here it's just like, well, unless you directed your first feature by 30, you know what I mean? A lot of people consider themselves a failure, and nothing could be further from the truth. You know, I cannot tell you personally, you know, before I came down to California, I didn't even know about this industry. I knew that people worked on movies. I knew there were guys that set up stands and they put up lights on movies. Knew nothing about it. Once I got down here and got the opportunity to see something different, that opened up an entirely new world for me. And so many people don't remember that you're standing in line and opportunity is coming to you all the time. You have to be brave enough to select it, and you have to put your ego behind you long enough to be able to say, you know what, this might be good for me. You know, I think we miss that a lot, you know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right with that.
You know, well, I was just going to say that unless making it, just the term making it, or I've succeeded, or I'm successful, those aren't realistic terms to me. You're always in a path. You're always on a trajectory. Have the joy to find out where it's going to lead you. There's no payoff. You know what I mean? The payoff, if there is a payoff, it's happening all the time.
It's the journey.
It's the journey.
Good.
It's not the goal. It's not the end, you know?
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point that I would love to touch on, which is, I think people think that feature films and maybe even directing feature films is kind of the pinnacle of what you could do in the film industry. And I think, and so then they set themselves on that timeline, like you said, the milestones of, oh, you know, I'm 30 and I haven't even directed a feature, or I have a successful short film, or, you know, whatever we tell ourselves. And it just makes everyone just really feel down about where they are and where they're at. I'm really not, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's not worth doing because I see all my friends and they're better. But I think you're right. We need to redefine what success is. And like that happened for me when I'm about to hit 30 now, and I really haven't had a good shot at directing a feature. But like we were saying, I've looked back at my life and it was like, I've had this incredible life that's helped so many organizations basically just tell all their stories and drive, you know, just tens of thousands of views towards these amazing organizations that have raised, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. My life has had a huge impact. And if I'm only focusing on, you know, I haven't made a feature or something like that, I think it's just a crap metric to base your life around, you know?
PJ, I could not agree more, my friend. And you know what? It's a guaranteed path to sadness, because
that's good.
Just what you said to me, that mark that you gave. I'm almost 30 and I haven't directed my first feature yet. You know what I'm saying? That is the falseness that we tell ourselves. You know, and now I'm a little older, so I've been kind of past that, you know what I'm saying? You know, I've been there. But look at, you know, whenever I'm trying to pick somebody up in the industry, there's one technique that I use all the time. Put the double up there, would you, Tony? It's easier to talk to PJ when he's there. But yeah, there's one standard that I say, I just talk about them. Sorry, Tony. But there's just one standard I talk to about them, and I go, what have you done? And then I compare it to the other 6 billion people in the world. And I go, what would they think if they heard what you had done? How many people, sight unseen, would just trade places with you right now? And dude, there's not even a number that can say it. And that is what it is. It's what we do ourselves. I do the same thing. I look at it and I go, why is it that, you know, why am I not doing this? And then I sit around and I look, I go, I'm living in Laguna Beach. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've got a great life. I've got all the friends in the world. I'm respected in my industry. What more is it that I need? What is going to make me happy if I'm not happy now?
You're right.
You know?
You're right. Yeah.
So
and we see it all the time with celebrities too, where if they're not happy, then who the heck can be?
Thank you. Because that is the truth. It's look, you know, here's a little bit of my philosophy on this, and this is why we go down this road, is that everybody wants to separate themselves from the crowd. Their ego asks them to be, don't just be a member of the group, you know, be a leader. Go out there and be something special, you know. with the amount of things that you're already doing and not to appreciate that, you'll never ever get ahead. You'll never release yourself to enjoy anything with that mindset, you know?
Yeah.
It's a trap that you put yourself into. And I think it's from all the bombardment of the media too. Look at what you see on TV. Look what we produce. I go back to that. Look what we produce. You know.
Yeah, we're perpetrators of the madness that is the beauty industry and this, you know.
Absolutely.
All that
Yeah, and we
contribute to. Yeah, it's true. I hate that as a director. I'm so driven to good-looking people and, you know, things that are only really with the facade of beauty, and it kind of poisons your outlook a little bit. We tend to value people more that are prettier, you know, like, you know, it's just also superficial, and I hate that. Like, I'm against that when I think about it, but, you know, I perpetuate that when I only cast like super pretty people in my ads and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's hard when you realize you perpetuate it. You do.
Totally. And not only that, but I think I told you this before we came on, you know, I do not post who the person I am. I post who I want to be. And I was thinking the other day, you know, if I looked at my profile and I didn't know it was me, I'd think I'd want to be that guy. You know what I mean? He seems like he's got it all together. I'm not so happy. Oh, wait, it is me. You know? What kind of insanity is that? You know? What kind of insanity is that? And I'll tell you, I literally do that. I literally think about, like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing this, doing that, you know? Yeah. It's a really, really poisonous thing that I think it's easy to drop into. It's very easy to drop into, but you can't. You know what? I'm going to just take and read some excerpts because I want to go through these that you wrote. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just some excerpts. You know, and I want you to know, my reading aloud is considered a war crime in most countries. So just bear with me on this. The narrative filmmakers look down on the commercial filmmakers, who look down on the corporate filmmakers, who look down on the wedding filmmakers. You're not alone if you feel reluctant to post your work because your shoots aren't as cool and as impressive as your peers. Everyone is in a different place. The place you're in is not a wrong place, it's a point in your journey. And whether you're shooting weddings or working on features, it's all okay. That's just kind of what we're talking about right there, and that's what you wrote. And I think that is so, so true. You continually have to have that in your mind, and you're continually going like, oh, this isn't a feature, you know, all these other guys are posting, they're on their movies, you know, I'm on a bleach shoot, you know what I mean? And I don't want to post that, which is the wrong mistake. You should post everything you're doing, in my opinion, you know, that you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's true. Everyone's at a different spot, and like I like what we don't always realize too is that all the people we idolize, they had those crappy jobs 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, and they happy too. And honestly, often here's what really blew my mind is I talked to a Super Bowl director, Diego Contreras. He's amazing, works with, you know, all the top sports cars and all that stuff. And he told me that, like, he's not happy either. He's basically, he described to me what I was like. He's like, I look up to all these feature film directors and I don't think that I'm good enough for what they are, you know, like, and I just realized, oh man, if we're all doing this and if the people he looks up to says, well, I'm not Roger Deakins, you know what I mean? Then like, when does it end? You know, we never arrive.
And Roger Deakins is, why did he get that film and I didn't? You know what I mean? I mean, it really never stops. It really never stops. You have to have some self-satisfaction and some self-congratulations about what you've done.
That's good.
You know?
Yeah.
So let me read another excerpt here. I feel like there's an unspoken belief that making feature films in the end all to be all for filmmakers. but I know so many feature filmmakers, just what you were saying, who look like they have it all. They've destroyed, and yet they've destroyed their families and personal lives in the process. They've compromised their personal values to get there, and they've developed unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with it.
Yeah.
That is just about what you were saying. And you know what? This strikes home to me too, because, you know, I was married for the first time in my life when I was 62 years old. So
Wow.
I had really never had any real good long-term live-in relationships, anything like that. I mean, I was so assumed that I would never ever get married, you know, at that age,
Right.
and do anything.
Right.
And I met a beautiful, beautiful person. Got very lucky, and you know, she could stand me for more than a few hours at a time. So that really worked out. But it is true. I've seen myself since I've been married with the demands on this business, and of course, I was a very established person when we were married, you know. But I've seen me do the same things here. I have compromised family values for work. You know, I have not prioritized my wife at times when I know I should have, and ask her to understand because there were work demands, you know, instead of myself saying, no, this isn't that important. She is more important in this scene than I am, you know.
Right. And what really like just cuts me, because I do this all the time, is that like all the projects we were like kind of basically like throwing our families to the side, throwing our friends to the side on, like, where are those projects now? Like, that's what it's also in the moment, and then it's gone, and then you're on to the next one, you know, like it doesn't, not that it doesn't matter.
So true. Nobody's talking about that shoot now. You know what I mean? Nobody has that problem now. Then it was such a huge, huge deal, you know. But you're right. You know, where is it now? And you're sitting in your living room with that person. That's what's important. That person is important, not the project.
Yeah.
You know.
You're right.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Well, let me just go on here because I do want to get through these. So, and here you talk about your own self-awareness here is, I was chasing a false reality, a false image of myself. I thought I'd be happy and successful only if I appeared that way, instead of finding that internally as a starting point. You cannot chase the appearance of success as a starting point. It will leave you burned out, unsubstantial, and unsubstantial. External success comes from internal peace. I love that. I love that. Very, very true. Very true.
Yeah, I think that we can find that peace, whatever we're doing. That's the thing about it, is like when we can really like we're the ones who define our happiness, right?
Absolutely.
When we define that, like, just think of some of the guys you got on your grips and your gaffers, like they're part of an amazing team that really believe in each other, they love each other, and like that they help projects look amazing. Like that is an inherently good thing. And you know, it's not just like, oh, I'm just right now like a low-end grip, or I'm just right now an assistant. No, it's like I'm a part of something really special. I love the people I'm doing it with, and I'm working towards being a better person day by day. That's amazing.
That's
do you
your
need
job.
You know?
That's your job right there. You described it perfectly. It's exactly. Look around you. Look at what's happening, you know. And sometimes, you know, when I do this, when I'm complaining about something, I look back and I go, in the context of my life, in the context of the world, is this really important? And literally, I mean, probably 98, 99% of my problems are all first world, I just want this problems, you know, and I didn't get
You're
it.
right.
You know, that's the problem I'm looking at, you know. You know, this is so good to be reminded of this, PJ. I think it's really, really important, you know, and it's not just our industry that needs it. It's, I think people all over need this. I think that Americans in general are suffering from this because because we have so much plenty here, I think. And I know, you know, I have the TV on every day too. I don't think things are all going the way I like it. That is for sure. But we have to sit back and think, prioritize, and put our priorities important. And I think a lot of people are doing that right now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. We have so much to be thankful for. It is bizarre and definitely just so strange that like paradoxical that despite all we have, our rates of depression in Western countries and specifically America are higher than ever. Rates of suicide are higher than ever, and I think that just comes from the fact that like we're just always jealous. We're never content. You know, it's always like keeping up with the Joneses, and it's so toxic. And it's ironic that like some of the happiest people I've ever met are the people who have so little. Like when I went to the Philippines, when I go to Haiti, like they're just so, ironically, they're so much more generous with what they had. Like we were eating dinner and this family, like, I mean, I swear they spent every last dime to go out to the market and just give us all just like fried bananas and chicken and stuff like that. And, you know, would I go out and empty out my bank account to provide for a family just to be hospitable? No
Amen
way.
on that. Yeah. No, it's really, really, really incredible. You know, I have a take on this, and it does involve like what we do. You know, I've had television in my life since I was very little, like probably 3 years old. You know, I'm going way back. This is like 1953 or something like that. You know, so I've had in there. And the one thing that I know about this business, being in it and seeing it for this, television is one thing and one thing only. It's an emotion manufacturing machine. Television, our medium, does not work intellectually. It only works emotionally. And when you are bombarded throughout a lifetime with emotionally based messages about items, about things, about lifestyle, about image, about view, you know what? Commercials work. And that's the biggest commercial of all, because when you go to a different country, I've never been to the Philippines, but when I went to Turkey and I saw that, suddenly there was something very different, and it took me a while to put my finger on it. And it was, these people are not hyper consumers. They are not constantly being led down to the aisle to check out. You know what I mean? They are just living their lives. They're not flipping their apartments. They're not getting new cars. They're repairing their cars. The mentality is entirely different. And we are put with these emotional manufacturing machines being trained and groomed to be a consumer society since World War II. I think that's where a lot of our problems are coming from. Why else would people be depressed here? You know what I mean? Why? I mean, I know people, that's a very trite statement, but I mean, I didn't mean it in that way, but that we've got it pretty good. Why would a movie star commit suicide? You know what I mean? From our point of view, you got everything. You've got power, you've got money, you can do a film, you've got everything. But it's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, man, that hits home to me too. And like I said, like we should think about that as we perpetuate that through making commercials about
Yes,
stuff.
we should. Yes, we should. Very much, very much. And I don't think, you know, look, what we do is mechanics. What we're doing, and we're making stuff, it's mechanics. You know, we know how to do it. And look, I know, as sure as I can say this, the same thing motivated you that motivated me. We want to make a pretty picture. We want to make a pretty picture. And you go through all of that stuff to make the pretty picture. You know, we don't spend a lot of time on what the subject is or whatever, but whatever we're shooting, we want it to be the pretty picture. That's our motivation. But don't trade off everything in the world for that either.
Yeah, and I think that's the freedom for like passion projects. You know, if we're able to kind of counteract that narrative of consume and consume, because I know a lot of us are working in the commercial industry. Doing passion projects about things that matter. I mean, that's like, I was just in Ireland these last 10 days working with a surf school, and it's just incredible. Basically, they found that there's just a lot of there's some crime with young teens. Like, basically, there's a lack of like father figures and mentors in their communities. And so a couple of guys got together and they said, what can we do to basically create positive role models? And they're like, well, let's go surfing. Like, kids love surfing. Like, let's do peer mentorship through surfing. And sure enough, now they have like hundreds of kids come through their camps, and they're staying longer. And I did a story about a kid who's now, he was born, kind of in like a drug house, sleeping on newspapers, inner city Oakland, and became a foster kid, ward of the state. And now he's, somehow, basically had an opportunity to go to Ireland, and he's an internationally certified surf coach. He mentors kids that were in his similar place. I know, and those kind of stories, I love them. That's what's worth doing, I think, with our off time when we can, like when we can work on those projects, like do it to your best of your ability, keep doing, and try and share them with as many people as possible.
Oh, that is so awesome. I totally agree, PJ. Totally agree, because it's power. You got to use the power for something good too. We'll push all the soap, we'll push the cars, push the beer, but ultimately we have the power of communication, and ultimately you got to look, I think, and say, I feel like I helped the world. I feel like I made an attempt to help the world and put it the way I visualized it and the way I want it. And it's important for all of us to do it. So I would encourage anybody who is feeling bad, is feeling like you're not doing enough. I know for me, and for a lot of other people have backed this up and told me, if you're feeling really that bad, go out and try to help somebody. Go out and try to talk to somebody. Get the focus off of you. Go find, because I can tell you, I'll guarantee you, you're going to find somebody worse off than you. And that's the way to bucket. I want to continue reading on here a little bit. And these are more of the things you learned. I had to learn that I am enough. I am loved no matter what I'm doing. I love that. I don't have to impress anyone, which is great. It's okay to do films to just make money and provide for my family. And I think this is really important too. You are bringing in an income. That's something. That's major. The fact that you can do that in our environment and this crazy, crazy business, and the economics are no crazier in any other business, but ours, if you can make a living and build a reputation and do great stuff, that is success all by itself. Okay, here we go. Going viral, gaining notoriety and fame do not lead to more happiness. I mean, that's been proven over and over and over again. And it's been proved almost daily now.
It's the opposite,
Yes, it's the opposite. Yes, that's right. That's right. Success doesn't come from external factors nearly as often as it comes from your own internal disciplines and vision. Amen, brother. Amen to that. That is just that self-evaluation, that where am I now? What am I doing? What do I have? What do I actually need that I don't have? That's a big question,
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's something, man, that we just don't do enough of. Is I think we chase things that we think will make us happy. And yet, I just feel like so many times what will actually make us happy is right around us, like we were saying. Like it's not upgrading our car that's going to make us happier person. It's oftentimes not even getting that like promotion or that next level, or getting on that job that you've always wanted, or winning that pitch, or getting the little extra money, like, because we've all got that before, and it doesn't just magically make us like happier, I just really think the actual key is to look inside yourself, to gather your friends around you, and to really just be thankful. I think thankfulness and that attitude is just life changing. I've been someone who struggles with depression and anxiety. I still do.
Yeah.
But man, every time I do an accounting of like, all right, what's 10 things I'm thankful for today? You come away feeling better from it.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's I too have had those same things. I've never, I was an well, I am an alcoholic. I quit when I was 32. I was the
Wow.
tough guy. You know what I mean? I didn't go to AA. I didn't go to a counselor. I white knuckled my way through it. And thank God, I mean that literally, thank
Hmm.
God,
Yeah.
I did make it through. And that has been this very slow progression of me getting my life back together since that point. You know, it is so, so true that you just have to take it one day at a time, one step, one
Mm.
single step journey, and that's what brings you back up. You know, to this day, I make it a point to do this. I thank God for everybody, and I mean, I don't want to present myself as a religious person. I am really not affiliated with any religion. I'm spiritual, so I want to just put that out front.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me, every day I wake up, and I mean this sincerely, I thank God for everyone who they've put in my life, whether I perceive them good or bad. I
Hmm.
know that I walked away with something from that encounter, you know, and
Yeah.
I really feel that way about it, and I think people in our industry, it's easy to get wrapped up in yourself and wrapped up in everything, but you've got to stop, pull back some, and really be appreciative of that.
That's so good. I love that you said that. Like, kind of everything can happen for the better. Everything can kind of happen for a reason. I think that's another thing to step back. It's not like life is more than just being about us. Like, I mean, imagine if everyone lived just for their own personal happiness. Like, we talk about valuing happiness, but at the end of the day, happiness isn't honestly the most important virtue. Like, if everyone
No,
chased just their own personal happiness, the world would be a terrible place,
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
and no one would be happy.
Yeah, yeah. There's the counterpoint. Yeah, no one would
Yeah.
really be happy. No, and I think there is far too in our society. I think there is far too much focus on being happy. One of the things that I do, and look, in this business, we say this all the time. I say it myself. Love what you do, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Well, I do love what I do, and it's work.
Yeah,
And you know
that's
what?
good.
I take joy in that work.
That's
I
good.
take
Yeah.
joy in the fact that those are my duties for this is where I'm at now. You know, um, I think there is too a thing like, oh, you guys have got it so good all the time. Look, you got back from Ireland. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just now. I've been Japan, Argentina, Hawaii, Florida, down in your neck of the woods working and stuff like that. I always felt like I was a Walter Mitty. You know what I mean? Just going from different job to different job, doing all this stuff. And it's something that you really, really do have to appreciate and just look
Yeah.
at,
Yep.
and do that.
Yeah.
I want to just finish up this. It's your last statement on this, but I'm still reluctant to share my corporate work or stuff that I do that doesn't look like it'll impress other high-level filmmakers. I'm scared others will think that I'm less than. But there's no reason I should give to others that power over me, which I really love because you're handing them that power.
That's
Often,
good.
all of our fears are mostly an overlay dramatic reality that our peers actually support us instead of judge us. And that is so true. That is so true. Although I know our peers, they would have lit it a different way. But other than that, they
Right.
love
Right.
it. But that is so true, dude. I mean, when you wrote this, it really struck me. It really hit home. I thought, man, I'm so glad somebody else is saying this, somebody else is thinking this, and put it so succinctly, because it did a lot of people a lot of good.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that post really reached a lot of people because at the end of the day, like, I, you, writers will tell you this all the time. they don't actually feel like it's them writing. They kind of feel like it's really just this almost like connection to the kind of divine, just truth, and it's truth with a capital T, and it just kind of flows and then it moves on or something like that. So in many ways, I don't feel like those are my words, but also it's like that's just the culmination of honestly just getting crapped on for 6 months straight, whether it's by life or by myself putting me in like those hard situations. Like, you know, that's what I think in many ways, that's why TED Talks are so incredible, is because someone can go through an experience for 10 years and it's like, all right, here's 10 minutes where I can just share what I've learned over the course. So that was kind of my like 6 months distilled into 6 minutes or, you know, 6 paragraphs.
Well, keep this up, my man, because this is really important stuff. It really is. And I feel like, and I know from listening, watching, and interacting with you for the last few years too, people really pay very close attention to what you do, PJ. You're very admired in the industry.
Yeah, I have my detractors too. They're fun to deal with.
Oh yeah, well, you know, the haters gonna hate. The haters gonna hate. You know, I mean, there's always somebody out there that's is gonna troll you, or like, and you know, for the troll people, those are the people that I used to really get upset when I was really possessive of my social media and stuff. Somebody puts on the, you know, I just like, oh, I wish that guy was right here, right now. You know what I mean? I'd you know, if I didn't hit him, then I'd make him, I'd put him down hard, you know. But you know what? Think about that life. Compare yourself to that person sitting there writing something ugly for no other purpose than to try to make you feel bad. What a pathetic little creature that is. You know? I mean, really, they deserve your compassion.
Right, and it's all the time, and we do it. We're just as guilty as anyone else of people making amazing short films that are incredible, and yet what's the comment that people say? It's just some little nitpicky thing of like, oh, you know, it didn't have a good 3-act structure or some little like thing to tear it down. But it's like, come on, they poured months into that.
Right.
You know, and that's all you can say. It's so easy to be a critic, and it's so much harder to be, as Teddy Roosevelt says, the man in the arena. You know, there's this amazing book by Brené Brown called Daring Greatly, of just about being vulnerable, and just it's people who are in the arena, people who are also kind of fighters down there. They get it. They will always be cheering you on. And who gives a poop what people in the stands say? Because it's like the sports fans. You know, there's in a football, there's 12 guys desperately needing a break, and there's 50,000 guys desperately needing exercise. Like, who cares what the guys in the stands are saying?
Yeah.
You know, their opinion doesn't matter.
That really is the truth. That really is the truth. You know, you're going to live, if you live and die by what you think of the crowd thinks of you, you don't have anything. We all need to have a place to come from, what we really think. And a lot of times that's so stifled in our industry, once again. Certainly there's things that we generally stay away from in our industry talking. Certainly politics is one of them, religious is one of them. Certainly, you know, anything, I don't know, gratuitously sexual, you know what I mean? There's so many hotbeds out there of people, because we're working with different people every day. It's not the same group at work, you know, doing that you really do have to be very, very cautious. And we do, out of respect, you know what I mean, don't impose our personal position on other people, you know. I think that is important. But it does repress your thoughts too. You end up in almost this much more vanilla type relationships a lot of times, or I feel you present yourself that way. That's the way I feel, that I don't really, I used to write some political stuff. I do not do that anymore, you know, and it wasn't radical political stuff. It was just like, oh, I agree with this, or I don't agree with that, you know, but I don't even do that anymore, you know. So
we don't want to let that get in the way of, you know, saying the message you're actually trying to say.
And these days it's very, very political. I mean, it's very much on fire. I don't even know how to describe it. In all the years I've lived, I have never seen anything like this. So I tiptoe away, I'm afraid, and work behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah.
So, listen, we got about, what do we got, 6 minutes left? Do you, 5 minutes, they tell me, 5 minutes left. Take us away, PJ. First, no, tell us about your YouTube channel. I want to hear this. I want 19 million views too.
So strange. Okay, long story short is my dad was on a website called Fiverr. It's a website where people will do anything for kind of $5.
I know Fiverr. Yeah, I know Fiverr.
Yep.
Yeah.
People get all sorts of cool stuff on there. So he was a voiceover actor. Well, he started out, I mean, he was like in sales for years in the telecom industry. And then of course that folded. And so, you know, so many people out there, middle-aged, not really sure what to do with themselves. So I said, a couple of years ago, I said, hey, Dad, you should just jump on Fiverr, do some voiceovers. You're dramatic, you know, like, let's see what you can do. And so sure enough, over the case of like 4 years, he just was killing it on Fiverr. He was actually their #1 video spokesperson. And I mean, thousands and thousands of 5-star ratings, just really good. He was actually making a lot of money. There was one month he made $12,000 per month.
Oh my God.
So he was, oh yeah, he was crushing it. And he was kind of the darling of Fiverr. Like they did a whole Forbes article on, you know, how a baby boomer found a new career on Fiverr. Really cool success story. So then that kind of leads up to their betrayal of him, which was a lot of where the drama started on how he kind of got famous. Is he did a video for some YouTuber and it blew up, became a meme where he's talking to Fortnite. It's like, attention all gamers, John Wick needs your help. You say that line, like, I feel like almost any kid you hear these days, like, hey, voiceover Pete, you know, it's like, yeah. it's great. You're in that. So anyway, the largest game in the world, Fortnite, kind of cracked down on him like on that video because it was suggesting that people could pay to win the game. So anyway, they told Fiverr, look, you gotta ban this guy. You gotta like cut him off. Yeah, they came off so strongly. And so Fiverr, for like a totally BS reason, was just like, you know, you can't mention anything about paying to win games. So they just locked him out of his account one day randomly. And he had thousands of dollars in his account and they locked him out. He couldn't withdraw them. So it was just this terrible, like, kind of backstabbing through Fiverr. So that day this was like 6 months ago. I was like, Dad, we need to make a YouTube video about this because like people want to know what happened and you know, that now they can't order these spam and all that stuff. So we made a little video about it. We posted it that night. And then I woke up the next morning to 500,000 views on it. Just overnight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. By the end of the week. Yeah. So the next day, PewDiePie, who's like YouTube's largest channel with 95 million subscribers, the whole story on us was really amazing. And he basically just said, it's wrong that Fiverr did this. Let's show our support to VoiceOver Pete and everyone go give his channel a subscribe. So we went from a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube in one night to by the end of that week having 500,000 subscribers. Not just like views, like subscribers. So talk about cheat codes, talk about jumpstart a YouTube channel going from nothing to 500,000 in a week.
God, that is incredible. That's incredible. And now, are you guys working with it? Are your dad monetizing that?
Yeah, so for the last 6 months, I've just been helping him out as much as I can, just kind of create content. And, you know, I definitely think we got handed 500,000 subscribers, but for over 6 months, we worked our butts off and we're just hit 1 million last month. So it's definitely been, yeah, that we earned. So it's really, and it's been so fun. Like who doesn't like to work with their dad on a fun level? Like it's helped me and his relationship really like just find itself again. We've done such silly videos. Like he ran for president where we went on the steps of a courthouse and I did this whole like dramatic American music with the Statue of Liberty, and he's got this voiceover like gamers rise up. And now he's actually on the U.S. ballot. He's one of the 3,000 write-in candidates if you go to the U.S. ballot. That's how many people like voted for VoiceOver Pete. It's hilarious. So yeah, I mean, it's just got a life of its own.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So that's what he does. He doesn't make enough money to kind of live, and I've kind of stepped back now. But you know, it's been a blast, man. It's just been kind of crazy.
That is so awesome. Well, tell him great job and great job to you. PJ, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. Thank you so much. I definitely want to do this again. And how do you ever get out to California? Do you ever come out to City?
Oh yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I will be there later this year. So let's hang out. Let's do stuff.
Yeah, let's get you in the studio next time here.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I would love that. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's been an honor. I mean, just really appreciate what you're doing in this industry, just rising up young voices, really talking about things that matter. So thank you guys. Keep it up. Thanks for being on the show with me.
Thank you, PJ. Very awesome, brother. We'll see you soon, my man.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. And we'll see you next week, Friday at 2 o'clock on the Applebox Network for Bernie's Applebox. We'll see you then. Cut. That's a wrap.